Hi, my name is Anne, and I'm willing to bet any of you that if you go home and look in your closets, you will find at least one thing from The Gap. And I'm willing to make this bet because I think this brand is the most versatile, marketable fashion brand that exists today. I worked in Asia for 4 years for a company that handled licensing and franchising rights for fashion brands. And one of my favorite projects that I worked on was The Gap. Gap started in 1969 by Dan and Doris Fisher. They wanted to create an easy, casual brand that everybody could wear. They named it The Gap after the generation gap between kids and adults at that time. The first store was located on Ocean Avenue. It was actually a shop-in-shop inside a Levi's store. But then they transitioned over to standalone stores because the brand did so well. It was based off khakis and white shirts. Who would have thought, hippies wearing preppy clothes, but it worked. Today, that single store grew into many brands: Old Navy, Banana Republic. They have an e-commerce site with Piper Line, which is a higher-end luxury lines. The company operates its own stores, over 3,000 stores across the globe, but franchise stores, which is what I worked on, there's 350 stores, and every year there's at least 30 that are opening more. There's 30 more that's open all across the globe. The most interesting markets that I was involved in was Africa and Asia. You wouldn't think, as an American traveling overseas, when you see Gap, it's like, oh, an American brand, so you gravitate towards it. And I noticed from all the brands that I've worked with luxury brands like Chanel, Rolex, Cartier, Burberry. I noticed that Gap, a mass brand, is the one that sells the most. It's the most marketable. Its mission statement, it's a brand builder. It wants to engage the whole world in this such an iconic American brand. The target market is 17 to 35, but I've seen older people where they have baby and kids lines too. So, if you look at these demographics, they have something for everyone. This is the marketing, the product mix. Small, big, tall, short, whatever you name it, Gap has it. I'm pretty sure you've all been to the Gap, and whatever it is you're looking for, you've at one point or another found it in Gap or Banana Republic. And it's also done private labels, and the unique thing about this brand is it's very involved in production and franchising and licensing. They take their licensees step by step. They don't just say, oh, here's the brand, go run it, open the store and run it. They hold your hand through everything, which is why I love this brand so much. Let's see, that's more of marketing, the product mix. And the most interesting thing about Gap is it's very philanthropic. I don't know if you remember when Japan had that big quake and then when Indonesia had the tsunami, Gap was very quick. Within 2 or 3 days, they were offering products in their stores where if you bought it, a percentage of the proceeds would go to relief funds that help those natural disasters. Product Red, that's very ubiquitous line that it carries. And some competition is J. Crew, Macy's, but I feel like these brands are more niche-like, and it doesn't cover a broader demographic than Gap, which is why I advocate Gap. And I asked you, the closest store right here is Barton Creek, so if you're ever in the mall, stop by. I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to bet on it that you'll find something you like. Thank you.